Are 2 days out from the weigh-in for the powerlifting meet, and I am in the weight range I need to be. So that is a good sign. Today is supposed to be the first kind of tapered water weight day as far as water intake, about a half gallon. So I'll see how that goes today, and maybe tomorrow I don't need to do a full cut of water. So yeah. Today, I thought that I would just do a short video showing what I'm doing on my days off. I'm not golfing today, but I just feel a little bit stiff, and so I want to get some movement in, and then I need to go to the grocery store and get a couple of fatty foods that I don't normally eat to help me bring my carbs and sodium down. So that will be the video. So this is a ankle mobility movement exercise that I explained earlier in the week. But I'm just wanting to work on my ankle mobility to help me with my squat depth. So some foam rolling and some calf stretches. And even as I'm doing this, I can feel it, my calf, my Achilles tightening up. So I think that's indication to me that it's less about bone impingement and joint impingement and probably more about muscle stiffness for me, which is maybe that's a good thing, because that is something that it can really, that's just something that can stretch away over time, not by this weekend, but yeah, so I want to do that. I'm just feeling like a little, not soreness, but just stiffness. I can just feels like I'm not doing my normal movements. So that's why even though today is a no training day, I am going to do some stretching, and then I'm going to do just some light squats, maybe some bench, just to kind of activate some of those muscles and joints, get some blood flowing. Yeah. And I thought doing a video today would be a good chance to also do a daily check-in. Like I said, I'm within the weight range that I needed to be. I needed to be 181.8 or lower. And even just yesterday was my first water taper day. I went from water loading to 6 to 7 liters to yesterday I had 3.5 liters. And between that and then I've been eating in calorie deficits, moderate deficits, grant you, just between those two things, that has put me in the weight range that I need to be. So I'll be curious. Obviously, I don't want to go back to normal. I don't want to increase my water from what it has been, and I don't want to increase carbs or sodium. So I'm going to execute the taper day today down to less carbs and less water. I think it's half gallon, less than 1,000 milligrams of sodium, and I don't have the carbs on here. Oh yeah, less than 100 carbs. So that's the goal, and that'll probably be keeping the carbs less than 100 and sodium less than 1,000. Just by nature is really hard to do without being low calorie, so probably be a pretty low calorie day today. Neglected to do my normal intro. Welcome. Today is week 19, day 4. No explicit workout. I did talk about that. I did say that. No explicit training or workout today. Just a mobility and light movement. And as I said, yesterday was the first taper water cut day. Today's the actual first water cut day. We loaded water over the weekend and Monday and Tuesday. And then it is now Thursday, so we're going to be shooting for a half gallon or 1.9 liters of water today. Less than 1,000 milligrams of sodium, less than 100 grams of carbs. I think that'll put me into good shape going into tomorrow. Should be well within my weight range. And then I might not need to do a full water cut as like the plan is right now to only drink 24 ounces tomorrow. I might be able to do like just taper it slightly as long as I drink less water than today. So if I drink, 100 milliliters or 1.5 milliliters, it should be fine without having to like fully cut it off. But yeah, let me do some more stretches here and then we'll do some light movement. And I will take you to the grocery store with me and we'll get a couple of grocery items. I might just do like 3 sets of 10 with lighter weight, pretty similar to what my normal warm up would be. And I think that'll probably be a good enough activation. Again, I'm not looking to actually put real stimulus. I think thinking about this as do what you would normally do in a warm up is good because that's the whole goal of a warm up is to get the body warm, get the joints moving, get blood flow going, and that's really all I want to do. So I'll do 135, maybe we'll bump it up to 155. Maybe a little more if that's not feeling like enough. Oh. I usually do the check-in at the end. Gonna do it right now. Today's gonna look a lot different than normal. So let's look at yesterday. Like I said, almost 3.5 milliliters. And if you look at my loading days, over close to 6.5 each of those days. So I'm back down to what I was like over the weekend, which was like a preload. Back down to that. And then today we're going to shoot for like a little less than 2 liters. Weigh-in for today, 181.3. So we're already within range. That's good news. I just need to not undo that with any extra water, extra calories, especially calories from carbs, and then sodium. So I think if I just maintain or taper those things over the next few days, it should be good. But yeah, I don't want to accidentally cause my body to retain more water and put on more weight from here, right? This any more than this would be hard to recover from. So weight is looking good. Yesterday, a little higher on the calorie side and carbs. So it's actually, I'm pleasantly surprised that the water weight was, came down. I was worried that the carbs would increase glycogen and cause me to retain a little bit more water. So that's good. This will be easy to get less carbs today. Sodium, I should have been a little higher yesterday, but we're going to shoot for much lower than this, less than 1,000 milligrams. Protein, today, you'll see what I'm shooting for. We'll be lucky, I think, to get this much protein, but it's when you're trying to make weight, you make some temporary sacrifices. Yesterday, what that looked like was coffee, a Bronze David bar. These Girl Scout cookies are killing me right now. It's kind of nice having this powerlifting meet this weekend because I can just easily say today and tomorrow I can say, nope, I just can't do it. Can't do it. Some summer sausage, rice snacks, orange beef stick, Greek yogurt, the last of the rotisserie chicken. So lettuce, light dressing, and then you can see these Thin Mints. Man, way too many Thin Mints, but what are you going to do? Another bronze bar to help get up some calories. And then, yesterday I was just really struggling. I'm getting, it's the second to last week of the 20-week cut, and I'm just like really struggling to hit the finish line. So I had that chocolate, this little chocolate. But like I said, I like to build in. That's kind of one of the reasons why I put this powerlifting meet here, because I'm like, well, I've got that goal and I can't screw that up. I have to hit that weight. And so by having a rigid expectation and a goal, it helps me adhere, because otherwise I'd probably just be like, meh, whatever, we'll just end it here. So, and that's not a great attitude to have, but I just know myself. I know that I tend to struggle to finish well. So, and that's why I came up with the goal of 20 weeks, knowing that I was going on vacation after that. Having something to look forward to after helps. And then this powerlifting meet helps me rein it in the last couple of weeks. So here's my goal for today: just over 1,000 calories. So it's going to be tough. 69 carbs. I am going to try. It is going to be a decently sized protein day, especially considering only 1,000 carbs. Just over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. We'll see, because some of this will actually change. I'm gonna have to swap out this grilled chicken, because I don't have grilled chicken. I'm gonna have to bake it, so I have a little bit of control over how much sodium I'll get here. This is saying 316 milligrams, so it'll basically just be how much salt I put on my baked chicken that I prepare tonight. So I might have a little bit of control on there, but you can see not much today. Some yogurt, carrot, bronze bar, protein smoothie, so a chicken breast, and some salad, and that's gonna do it. And then Friday, similar calories, but even less carbs and less sodium. And the way that we're gonna do that, we're gonna have to go to the store and get an avocado. Don't have any of that. And I'm gonna need to get some almonds. And the reason I have those is because those are high fat, healthy fat sources of calories. And I need tomorrow. Normally I don't really pay attention to fats and carbs, but going into the meat and morning and doing a water cut, I'm prioritizing getting more of my calories from fat and protein than carbs, because carbs tend to retain water. So, and then Saturday, I don't have it put in here, but I have Pedialyte, because I'm going to need to rehydrate after the meet. But then I'm also planning on going out to Italian afterwards and getting some pasta to reconstitute. I'm going to be kind of eating rice snacks and other easy carb, quick carb sources, and loading on pasta, trying to reconstitute, drinking water, maybe some more Gatorade and stuff. So that's the plan this week. Let's do a couple more movements, just a couple more sets of these squats. That first one just felt good. I'm also just like, I've got my normal weightlifting shoes, not my Olympic weightlifting with the raised heel. So I'm focusing on trying to go deeper into the squat and going a little bit slower. So it's still feeling like a good stimulus. Not too hard. I'm not trying to get sore. But yeah, we'll do that. Maybe we'll do some bench, and then we'll head to the store. Okie dokie. All right, let's get one more set of these. I feel like this is crooked. I apologize. Maybe my room is crooked. I don't know. This house is pretty wonky. It could be. Little foam rolling before we go on to bench. As I mentioned the other day, I'm just going to find the tender spots on my legs, which for me is just kind of directly beneath the calf, not the lower calf and the upper ankle. I'm going to externally rotate and go in the middle. Oof. Look at that. Internally rotate. Oh, look at that. Started watching Ted Lasso again. This reminds me of the episode where Keely and Roy Kent are just starting to kind of like, hook up, and she thinks she did something wrong because he didn't want to do a one night stand, and she's talking to him while he's getting massaged by the trainer. And he tells her to leave when she's about to start on his hamstrings because he makes noises. His noises are private. That's how I feel right now. Like, oh, I need to make some noises because this is intense. Well, unlike Roy Kent, I'm publicly broadcasting this on the public internet. Oh. After I roll out these fascias and do some calf stretching, then we will move on. We'll basically just do the same thing for bench press that we did on the squat. We'll just do 3 sets of 10. Just to keep the muscles warm, blood moving, joints moving. Oh. Slightly different placement from my calf stretch the other day when I was doing it on the weights. I think this is a little bit more stable for me. First of all, doing it in a shoe so that my toes aren't flopped over. And then this is a little bit higher, a little bit stiffer. So yeah, a nice deficit stretch. I've already done a little bit of stretching this morning. So I can just feel this, especially this right one just feels like it's angry. It gets angry when I do this. It doesn't want to stretch. It doesn't want to be mobile. Just take a little bit of convincing every day. Won't be overnight. Won't get my easy squat depth without collapsing my chest overnight. And that's the compromise I'm going to have to make. I'm probably going to have to go a little bit lighter in weight. I'm going to have to collapse my chest forward a little bit to get the depth I need. So I'm going to need to really pay attention to my core, my back. Need to brace myself well. Knowing that I have to do that to get the right depth, but also knowing that I don't want to injure myself. So probably will lower my opening weight to accommodate for that, make sure I can get a good legal first squat. And then probably my second attempt, assuming I get the first one, I'll probably go somewhere like closer to what my original opening weight was going to be, and then maybe a little bit between that and what my first and second were going to be. And then, I'm just going to have to be okay with probably not hitting when I was testing my maxes, I got 375. I'm just going to have to be okay with probably not getting that potentially. If I'm depending on how my back is feeling, and depending on if, I do or don't get a legal lift, right? So hopefully this stretching and mobility work will help a little bit. Every little bit will help. Every little bit that I can move my knee forward to get squat depth, right? Get that knee forward will help prevent me from having to lean forward. So, all right, as I said, just another 3 sets of 10. on bench here. Ugh. Set 2. Ugh. All right, folks. Last set of the day. Just a nice little easy movement day. Basically just warm up sets. Yeah. Feels good to move though. Feels good to just get the blood pumping just a bit. All right, stay tuned. I'll see what I can do about bringing you along. We don't have a ton of groceries to get. I really just a couple of things, but just kind of want to, fill the time and give you a little bit of extra view into what my typical diet routine might look like. Grocery shopping is obviously a big part of that. I don't normally have time to bring you to the store. Today I do. So maybe in addition to the things that I do need for today, I'll just stop and show you what I typically might buy as well, just in general, things that I have been buying for this 20-week cut. So we'll see when we get there. So the first stop is our lettuce. I'm fond of this sweet butter lettuce. Got a couple packs of that I'll need. We ran out earlier in the week. That when you see sweet butter lettuce on my nutrition app, that's what it is. That and then some light Italian dressing that I get at another store. Don't need any today, but chicken breasts, pretty common staple, I think, for most people who are on a cut, most people who are trying to maximize protein. One of the leanest protein sources you can get. That I like to cut those in half and grill them marinate them in Italian dressing. It's just a really easy thing to do and a really yummy thing to do. Today and tomorrow, though, I will be opting for baking them because it's a little bit cold outside and I don't want the extra sodium from the dressing. So I want to be able to have very fine-tuned control over the seasoning that I put on it. So I'm just going to bake individual breasts today and tomorrow for this water cut. Here we go. This is another staple. Sea salt popcorn. 35 calories per cup. 130 calories per serving, which is 28 grams. So that's usually will be in my lunch. Don't need any today, but that is usually a low calorie, something I do It's kind of like high volume, low density. So not a lot of protein content, but it is more of like a filler, something that I'll do just to help me satiate. Salsa is also great. Salsa is over there. I love salsa because it is also pretty low calorie and I can throw it on my eggs or whatever. This is another staple. These caramel snacks. Again, I don't need any today, but they are a nice low calorie, not a lot of protein. Again, this is all filler stuff. These are carb heavy, low fat. They also make a cheddar version of those. And then you can also just get them in the rice cakes. If you've watched any of my daily check-ins, these have definitely made an appearance. These are the little chicken sticks. These are only 35 calories per stick with 5 grams of protein. And then the beef stick chomp sticks. Again, only 45 calories with 4 grams of protein per stick. I like foods that get me, for protein sources, I like it to be at least or close to 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. So 5 grams of protein for 45 calories. Close, not quite, or sorry, what was it? The chomp sticks are only 4 grams of protein for 45, so they're a little less. But the chicken sticks are 5 grams of protein for 35 calories, so they're a little over 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. It's an easy ratio that you can do. Just 10 to 100. 10 to 100. Anything more than that is a great source of protein. Anything less than that is mid. Here's the Italian dressing that I usually throw on my either this or the zesty kind. I actually like the zesty kind because it's 20 less calories per serving. So I usually just throw that in a Ziploc bag with my cut in half chicken breasts, and that's what I grill. Really only need a few hours of marinating, but overnight, oh man, it's so good. And yeah, if you've seen grilled Italian chicken breast in my nutrition log, that's what we're talking about. All right, now this is what we came here today for. So almonds. These are not typically something that I eat on a cut because it's only 6 grams of protein for 160 calories. Total fat 14 grams, carbohydrate 6 grams. So it is a little bit more calorie dense than the food that I typically like to eat on a cut, but it is low carbs, high fat, and it's a good source of fat, so that's going to be good for this water cut. And avocado, I got a couple of them just in case one goes bad or something, or feeling hungry. Again, another something that I don't typically eat on a cut because it is a little bit more calorie dense, but it is a good source of good fat. And since I want to have a lower carbs for these couple of next days, that's going to help me reach that goal. This is dog food. I don't eat this, but I imagine that this is quite packed with protein. It is intriguing. It says jerky, chicken jerky at that. I'd be lying if I didn't say that, or if I said I didn't try some dry dog food when I was a kid, right? Maybe that explains some things about me. Be honest, how many of you would, if the dog food had the nutrition facts on the back and it was super super low calorie, high protein, how many of you would try it? I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted to at least sniff it, try it. I mean, I have a dog, I'd just give it to her if I didn't like it. One change I ended up making during this cut was I used to have like one of these granola bars for like my late morning breakfast type thing. It's 100 calories and it's only 1 gram of protein. But I used to not eat any breakfast. I've gotten to the point where I need to usually have something around 10 or 11 before I eat lunch. One change I've made in the past several weeks is switching to David bars, which has controversy with David Attia, but the product itself is hard to argue with because it's only 150 calories and 28 grams of protein, and I think I've really enjoyed the bronze ones, which are a little less protein, like 22 grams or something, but still way over that 10 to 100 ratio, and only 50 more calories than what I was getting with these uh, granola bars. I think they're more filling. That's one change I've made that's helped me hit my protein goals. They don't sell them here at this grocery store, but um, you get them online. That's kind of what I've been doing lately, is just buying them directly online. Some hero right here, coffee beans. I love getting the single origin whole beans, grinding them myself. I'm not a super big coffee snob, but I do like decent coffee. I do like fresh ground beans. And so you've seen my coffee, like I have it every day. I do mix in some almond milk to help cool it down so that the creatine and protein powder can not disintegrate. But coffee is a staple for me. Whatever your seltzer water of choice is, LaCroix, whatever, I like the Aldi brand. What is it? View? I don't know if that's a I or a U. Bellevue, maybe. But yeah, that is my main source of water, except for these water loading days. I've been drinking more regular water because it's harder to drink a full liter of fizzy water than regular water. But during my normal cut, just my normal life, I live on seltzer water. Uh, every meal in between meals, it's good for if you're feeling like a snack. It can kind of hold off that, fills you up a little bit more. Love it. Keep on reaching for the mic, but it's not there. Non-fat Greek yogurt, 90 calories, 16 grams of protein. That's a good ratio, friends. I've been disappointed. Most of the grocery stores here have been out of low-fat cottage cheese. That would be another thing that I would grab up. When I first started focusing on protein, I used to strain eggs myself. I've stopped doing that and just buying liquid eggs from the store because it's just so much easier. But it is hard to argue with the protein ratio of egg whites, my friends. It is hard to argue, and you can always dress it up. You can always throw a whole egg in there, scramble it up, or eat the yolk, or throw in peppers, any kind of seasoning, hot sauce. It's really easy to dress it up and make it taste good. So egg whites are another thing that I love. Last stop of the day, I'm over here in the frozen section, and they don't actually have it. They're out of it. I'm not getting any today anyway, so it's not a big deal, but Halo Top ice cream is kind of my frozen treat of choice if I need to have something sweet and yummy. 300 calories for a little pint. I can usually try and squeeze that in on a typical cut day, not today and tomorrow when I'm only doing like 1,000 calories. But if I'm, cutting 500 calories, if I'm eating 2,000 calories a day, I can usually squeeze that in at least one day that week. It'll hurt my protein ratio for that day because it's not super great protein source, but it'll usually fit within the calorie goals. Well, that's the grocery haul for the day. Obviously, I didn't buy all the things that I showed you, but that would be pretty typical for things that I would buy on a cut. And then, I have a family, so there's usually lots of other things on there too for my wife and for my kids. But those are the foods that I specifically showed you were typically the types of things that I buy, like in addition to our normal groceries for whatever meals we're having. So like, I pointed out the chicken breasts, like I will buy additional chicken breasts to help me have for lunch, or if there's like a dinner that we're making that isn't as low calorie as I need, then I have a low calorie option. Um, Obviously I didn't like show you any of the ingredients that would go into like a meal that I'd be making, like chicken noodle soup as something that I make, right? Obviously chicken breast would go into that, but there'd be other things that would go in that we might need to buy at the store. But yeah, I mean, I just showed you some low calorie options. There's like this different categories of food, right? To me, there's low calorie filler satiating options. Like we looked at the rice snacks and the popcorn. I didn't show you, but some of my favorites are pickles because they're hardly any calories and have a lot of flavor, and carrots. Those are other strong low calorie filler options. Also, just other fruits, right? So oranges and apples are some of my favorites. Pears, bananas are a little bit more calorie dense, but I do enjoy them if I have the calories to spare. But then, and then the high calorie or the high protein sources focus on chicken breast, those little chicken sticks, and beef sticks. I didn't pull it out, but I also like beef jerky is another good. Those are like just quick snacks. The protein, the low fat yogurt, and then they don't have it here, but I like getting the low fat Oikos protein yogurt as well. That's another good little snack bit. The liquid eggs, the egg whites, that's another great protein source. Low fat cottage cheese, they've been out of, I haven't seen low fat cottage cheese in a grocery store in months. I don't know what's going on with that. So hopefully that comes back soon, whatever that shortage issue is. But yeah, and then seltzer water is kind of like the big water source. Obviously, that's not something I've ever really mentioned, but like you kind of want to avoid getting your calories from drinks, right? Calories from liquids are just not nearly as satiating. So I stay away from any drinks with calories for the most part on a cut. So regular water, obviously great. Seltzer water, I like a little bit better because it feels like it fills me up a little bit more and it has a little bit of flavor in it. So, but still 0 calories. And also, according to the label, 0 sodium, which will be good on this water cut because I want to not introduce more sodium, like kind of unknown bits of sodium that you might get from tap water. So yeah, a little bit different video today. Hopefully this has been interesting. If so, like and subscribe. We've got a couple more days of our water cut, then our weigh-in and then the powerlifting meet this weekend. So stay tuned. We'll try to give as much updates as I can. I don't know how much filming they will allow us to do at the powerlifting meet itself, but I will at least do a review of it and let you know how it goes. So yeah, we'll see you next time.